Scorre sangue italiano nelle vene di John Bon Jovi, vero nome John Bon Giovanni, figlio di un immigrato italiano e, si dice, di una coniglietta di Playboy. Ma scorre soprattutto il sangue del rock and roll, che lo ha portato a vendere oltre 18 milioni di dischi nel mondo, diventando una star di fama internazionale. Bon Jovi, dopo oltre 10 anni di carriera, esce con un doveroso The Best Of, intitolato Crossroads, che, oltre a riportare tutti gli hit della band del New Jersey, regala 2 inediti. In questa intervista Bon Jovi ci racconta i progetti più immediati e i dilemmi incontrati nello scegliere i pezzi da includere in Crossroads.
You have to look at Greatest Hits album in a way as a recapping of an era, closing a chapter, whatever you want to say. And a lot of times people do them after they've either peaked or they want to call it a day or whatever. And we were looking at it more the way Dylan with Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. After a 10-year period, I think it was best to think that this is the end of a chapter. You know, let's look back fondly on everything from Runaway through Keep the Faith as an album, and we did.
This Greatest Hits record, it's the end of something and the beginning of something else. I think it's like an evolution, a mark, you know, in the band's career, in the band's life. Of a lot of different things, maturity, sensibility, that we're still together.
There's been so many good moments in this band through the years. We've accomplished way more than we ever dreamed we could or would. It's much bigger than your wildest fantasies. The important thing is that we remained friends. I've known Dave since I was 16 and 32 now, so half my life. He was in a band with me, or we were in a band together, however you want to look at it, called the Atlantic City Expressway, which we were, you know, underage kids playing bars. You know, we did everything from having to do our homework in bars and lying about our age to sitting next to the exit doors in places like the Stone Pony, because when the bar owner found out that we were too young to be there, he wanted to kill himself and the agent who booked us, but we were drawing enough people that he had to let us play. So between sets, we couldn't even have a glass of water because he didn't want anybody thinking it was booze. So we decided to stay at good places that would serve us booze.
It's half drugs, half alcohol. That's what we usually find. It's a good balance that way. We're just kidding. 2/3, 1/3.
After New Jersey, we were physically and mentally exhausted, and I think that all the drugs and alcohol played a part in what would have been our demise. But with the break and the solo projects, that 2 years to be reflective helped us keep it together, and then the Keep the Faith album and tour, I think, are the reason why we feel that we're over that period and survived.
It's all the same. We've run the gamut of, you know, having houses in Los Angeles to going to foreign lands, but most of all, we just want to come back home at the end of the day. When you're a kid, you can't wait to leave. You know, you say, enough, I'm getting out of this place, a place everybody makes jokes about. And then it takes a lot of years and a lot of miles to realize that this is what you know, so you come back to it. On a seahorse I ride, I'm wanted, dead or alive, wanted.
It's a way of life.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get along.
Yeah,
You fight, you have fun, you love. It's like You look at Italian people, they speak very loud and yell at you. Think they're always yelling at each other. That's Jersey, you know, really.
That's right. If there's a problem between us, we get a bucket of chicken and throw chairs at each other.
The main thing about it is we're still having fun.
So welcome to the world of making videos. I'm John Bon Jovi, and I'd like to think that I was going to be your host, but I'm just a singer in the band. Anyhow, we're up here in a warehouse.
It was kind of dark when they brought me here, so I really can't tell you where it is.
Where Marty Kalner, who is most famous recently for the Aerosmith videos, is directing his first video for us.
I'll be directing the video myself.
Marty's doing it. It's a song called Always on the Greatest Hits album, Crossroads. So it's his multi-zillion-dollar production of a mini-movie.
It's going to be big and good.
But we're having a good time up here. It's been going pretty well. We get all the free bubble gum we can chew.
The coffee's great here. Everybody's really nice.
It's been a lot of fun so far, so good. Come on, check it out.
Looking back on it, I mean, I would have never thought that there'd be too many hits to fill up a greatest hits record. And that ended up being the hardest thing. It was picking what songs would make it and what wouldn't, because there was actually certifiable hits, top 10 American singles that couldn't make the collection because of time constraints. But we've been very fortunate through the years to have had so many.
Now your pictures that you left behind are just memories of a different life. Some that made us laugh, some that made us cry, one that made you have to say goodbye.
Always has been recorded now twice. I wrote it for a film. I wrote Always for a film called Romeo is Bleeding. And I had gotten the script and really loved both the title and the idea that it was a Gary Oldman movie, who I'm a big fan of. And read this script and said, I have to be the guy that writes this. And after Blaze of Glory, I wanted to do something else right away. And it was this. So we recorded it on the road. You know, we had Pino Palladino play bass, and it was electric drums, and Dave played a little piano, Richie played a little bit of guitar. But it was a really different production. It was made for a movie, and it was going to be a solo thing for this film. And it was very good, but the film wasn't. And so we pulled it from the film, and though we loved the song, didn't feel it was even right for the next band record, because it has a beginning, a middle, and an end as an album, and it was so good that it would work best on this greatest hits record. And so we re-recorded it as a band, rearranged it as a band, and over the course of a week, recorded these two and the remake of Living on a Prayer, all in Nashville.
What were the best satisfactions in the past 10 years?
Career-wise, I mean, there's been a ton of them. Who would have ever thought that we'd be selling, almost 50 million records? Who would have thought that all these hits, or the nights at all the stadiums that you've played around the world in places that no one ever thought they'd ever dream of seeing, let alone playing for people in Russia or, the Far East, or even in Milton Keynes in England, or Giant Stadium in New Jersey. There's a lot of that. #1 singles and albums, and it's been a lot of wonderful memories. If it were all over today, I think it'd be deemed very successful.
Being in a band, especially after 10 years, it's like a marriage, It really is just like a marriage, a bunch of bitchy housewives. In Keep the Faith, I mean, we sat down to rewrite a socially conscious lyric with sympathy for the devil. It was really the Animals, and
It was just a different groove.
and it was just let's go really back to what we loved, which was those kinds of things. I mean, who didn't wish they wrote Sympathy for the Devil? I mean, and those great Animals classics, which we've been trying to rip off for years. And
We both had that title too. See, we both had it like on our list somehow. We both had that title. It's just cool.
yeah, I stole it from him. I just looked over his shoulder.
You did you?
Yeah, I mean, but it was one of those kind of things where that song needed to be said. And there was a real risk writing a song like that and considering it an album title and a single and it's such a statement to make when people wanted you to write Bad Medicine again. And he said, no, it's not what we're going to do. It was more important than Keep the Faith to say something, and we did. Prayer was an obvious choice. I mean, it was, as a band, the biggest single that we'd ever had. It was a song that related to a lot of people in a lot of ways, walks of life.
That was a good one.
I think everybody has felt like that song. Everybody almost can relate to that. Somehow when you hit a groove lyrically like that it hits everybody, that almost everybody has felt that particular emotion in their life. Like, things ain't going that good, but we got each other and we're going to make it. And it's that moment of optimism, I think that everybody goes through that once or twice in their life. So everybody related to Tommy and Gina, I think, which was kind of cool. I know I did.
The Wanted Dead or Alive, I remember in '85, we were on the road with Rat. For some reason, at least from my memory, is that I couldn't sleep, and this one day it was like at dawn, and I, for the first time, heard this one song on the radio, and it hit home, and I remember being at Richie's mother's house that afternoon, and we sat down to write this song called Wanted Dead or Alive, and I told him this title, and then he just came up with that riff, and that was boom, boom, boom. We wrote that song in
Very quickly.
very quickly. We wrote 2 songs that they start to finish before dinner.
Yes.
Before it's like
I was
6
glad
o'clock
to eat
to
after
dinner.
that.
So we'd leave the basement around dinner time, and then, I'd go back to our mother's houses because we still didn't have any money after 2 albums or any place to live. So we had to be nice to our parents. So, but it was an easy song to write because I guess it was so personal to us. It was so just right on.
Yeah, just about being on the road and the experiences. It was just what we knew and what we did. It was our life,
I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride. I'm wanted, head of the line. Wanted, head of the line.
Lay Your Hands on Me. We were in the studio recording Jersey, and it was real quick because we wrote it in Vancouver in the studio, which was a little rare for us. to go into the studio and write a song. We've done it on a couple, but not to any great extent. With that one, again, Richie had a riff, and I came up with a title, and one thing led to another, and we just tuned the E string down to D, and before you knew it, that was that. It was a quick song to write.
Definitely.
And it's funny because, again, I remember sitting around with like Kurt Marvis, who had done a lot of our videos, and he said, "This song's gonna be a big hit." And I went, "Look, I'll bet you anything you want. This is just a silly rock song. I sort of like it, but no big deal." Next thing you knew, it was
Worked.
People really like it live, and it was a big single and all that kind of. It was just a surprise.
Yeah, it's a good tough groove too.
Yeah, it's a good song.
And a good way to start off the record, with the intro to it, so it made something that tied in the live.
Accentuating the keyboard player, I might add.
Thank you.
I forgot about that intro.
Thank you. Big organ solo. Big organ solo.
What happens after the organ? Oh no,
Bass solo.
Blaze of Glory was written for a movie, of course. It was written for Young Guns. Jeff Beck.
Yeah, what can I say? L-tone. That's a spicy little number.
That's Usher here. When I had to play it live at the Academy Awards, the best thing to do was to get the band together again. So we put the band together again. So the band came in, and everybody came into the Academy Awards with me to appear, on the show. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the night immensely.
That was a fun gig. Yeah, a couple billion people were viewing that live. Tess was very excited to count.
I'll Be There For You was written post-parenting, and we had our own houses at that point. It was after the Slippery album. It was the beginning of New Jersey, and that was written in my place.
And we were cooked.
Yeah, it was late at night. It was very late at night. It was a little bit influenced by a John Lennon kind of a vibe, and I remember when we finished that one, we knew we had a very good one. It was personal probably to both of us in different ways, and made it a Bon Jovi song that way. But we knew it was a very special song. It wasn't hard to write.
Yeah, I think that's another subject lyrically, and another emotion that everybody kind of feels like. Sometimes, you're in a relationship and you screw up, or you do something wrong, and then you're going, but you know what? When it comes down to it, I'm there.
I'll be there for you. These 5 words I swear to you. When you breathe, I wanna be the air for you. I'll be there for you. I live and I die for you. I still sung from the sky for you. Words can't say what love can do. I'll be there for you.
Never say goodbye.
A motto in which to live. It's actually a heavy metal song. We turned into a ballad.
We wrote that for Sepultura.
Never say goodbye. Actually, Pantera, didn't you?
Pantera. A little ditty from the Slippery record.
Yeah, I mean, that's another song I think that a lot of people related to also.
Say goodbye. Never say goodbye. Holding on, we gotta try. Holding on to never say goodbye.
Tracks presented in Crossroads are the most selling songs of your career. Are they also your favorites?
Well, some are. They all are, but then there became more difficult picking which would not appear on the record. There's songs like Born to Be My Baby or Living in Sin or Never Say Goodbye that were certifiable hits that didn't make the record, as well as some songs that weren't hits, but you thought that would fit on the record and people should hear. We wanted to put "Stranger in This Town," one of Richie's solo songs, on here, and a song called "Miracle" from the Young Guns record that was a hit single that didn't fit on the record as well. So there was a tough time choosing.
So the Crossroad album, The Greatest Hits, it's turned out very well. It sounds great. We've remastered all the old songs, which is fun. Really brought out a lot of new things that you forgot about in those old songs. As far as the new album is concerned, it's written and we're ready to start it, and which will be very soon. In October we start the actual recording of it, and it'll be out in the spring when we will tour relentlessly again. The thing about a Bon Jovi tour is it's endless. I know when
level rock bands. Then he made a